Good evening, everyone. It's currently 6:01 p.m. I wanted to give another 2 minutes for some additional attendees to join. So we'll get started in 2 more minutes and we'll be right back. Thank you. All right. Well, good evening, and thank you for joining us for Eat to Fuel Your Body, Not Your Emotions, a virtual community presentation by Janet Brancato, registered dietitian at the Valley Health System. Janet is one of our Janet is one of our outpatient dietitians who wears multiple hats in what type of services she provides. But Janet has been with the Valley Health System for over 20 years and has been providing tremendous amounts of nutrition education. So this presentation will conclude with a moderated question and answer period. You can submit your questions throughout the presentation by clicking Ask a Question in the live event Q&A section. It's usually up at the top right-hand side of your screen. So please join me in welcoming Janet for this presentation. Thank you, Janet.
Thank you. Thank you all for joining me tonight. Good evening, everyone. I'm glad to be here with you to talk about eating to fuel your body, not your emotions. Again, my name is Janet Brancato. So our focus today is on an important aspect of nutrition, eating to fuel our bodies, not our emotions. It's very easy to fall into the habit of reaching for comfort foods in response to stress, sadness, or even boredom. Emotional eating can offer temporary relief, but often leads to long-term health issues and can prevent us from achieving our wellness goals. Today, we will explore practical strategies to shift from emotional eating to mindful eating, where we prioritize nourishment and energy, finding ways to build a healthy relationship with food. Let's discover ways to fuel our bodies with the nutrients they truly need. So we're going to build awareness tonight. Just click on our goals of the program. We are going to look at different reasons why we eat. We're going to tune in and be a little bit more mindful tonight and discuss some of the different reasons why we eat. We're going to talk about how our body self-regulates with hunger and fullness cues. Our body tells us when we're hungry and also tells us when we're full. So we're going to look at that. Levels of hunger with a hunger scale. We're going to talk about emotional eating, food cravings, and then of course tips and strategies and helping with preventing mindless eating and eating without guilt. Okay, and then of course I will answer your questions. So we want to start building awareness and thinking a little bit about the reasons why we eat. And for everybody, it could be different, but I want you to really think about different reasons why you eat. And I'm going to highlight some of the common reasons, okay? So I eat when I feel true hunger. So there's physiological needs. Our body needs fuel. Our body needs nutrients. We feel hungry. We have physical signs of hunger. You might hear or feel stomach grumbling, or you feel low on energy. You might have an empty feeling in your stomach, or it's been a few hours since your last meal. So this is more like when your body needs food. This is physiological needs, true physical hunger. Okay, so one type of eating is physiological hunger, meeting our body's need for fuel, need for energy. Okay, so we want to try to tune into that. Okay, and try not to skip meals. Our body tends to need fuel or energy every 3 to 4 hours. So if we're kind of going beyond that, sometimes we might find our energies are low, or like I said, you might get those physical symptoms. So of course, planning accordingly for meals and snacks. And then there's different levels of hunger, and it's really good when we're talking about mindful eating, when you really start to tune into your body. We want to tune into our hunger cues. Like I mentioned, your body tells you when it's hungry, it tells you when it's full. There's hunger hormones that circulate that tell your body and tell your brain that you need food, you need fuel. So you want to tune into your body, okay? And there's a hunger scale goes from 0 to 10. Okay, 0 being starving, famished, headache, um, an extreme hunger when you haven't eaten for a long period of time. 3 is more of a need to eat. You might get those hunger pangs. You're starting to feel hungry. And then, of course, once you start eating, number 5 is usually when you're starting to feel comfortable. You're sort of neutral. You've eaten something and you're feeling more neutral and more comfortable. 6 on the hunger scale would be somewhat full. And then by the time you get to 8, you're feeling overfull. You might feel like your clothes are tight. You need to loosen your clothing. And then, of course, 10 is the other extreme where now you're getting physical symptoms of overeating. It could be nausea or just, feeling very uncomfortable. So these are the levels of hunger. This is a great mindful tool. You can find these online. But, thinking about the hunger scale can help you to determine, am I hungry? Am I full? Am I comfortable? Where am I at? So when you're in that green zone, that neutral ground from 4 to 6 is sort of when you're feeling comfortable. Obviously, 5 is the most comfortable, satisfied, neither hungry nor full. And of course, we want to avoid the red areas, which are the extremes. So staying within that comfort zone, that 5 or that 4 to 6, is definitely going to help you to feel more balanced, more energized, more comfortable. Like I said, trying to stop eating around 5 or 6. So this could help you to determine how you're feeling comfortable, feeling satisfied. Once we start eating beyond hunger, so now we're not really eating out of hunger or physiological needs. Now we're eating beyond hunger. And there could be different reasons why we eat beyond hunger. And like we mentioned in the topic tonight, emotional eating or emotions can trigger eating. And for everyone, it's different. You might have all these emotions and it triggers eating. It might be 1 or 2. So a lot of times I tell people to maybe keep a little emotion journal or emotion hunger journal, where you could sort of determine how you're feeling and then how you handle that feeling. Okay, so it could be if you're feeling bored or stressed, or maybe you're looking for comfort, feeling lonely, maybe you're feeling joyful or celebratory, frustrated, angry, anxious. These are all pretty strong emotions. And like I said, they can it's common for it to trigger um eating, or to feel like we want to either counter that emotion or maybe help with that emotion, and food can definitely help with that. So you want to determine, what are your triggers? What are the emotions that trigger eating? And then we can come up with some strategies to help with that. The third type of eating is what we call unconscious eating. So it's not eating for emotion, it's not eating for hunger or true physical hunger. Again, it's eating beyond hunger, but there may be some mindless, we call it mindless eating, or times where you're not even really aware that you're doing it or that you're eating. It could be we're visual eaters. So if we see food, maybe you see food out on the counter or on or on the kitchen table, and even though we're not hungry, because we see the food, we might go and start eating. And we call it more like mindless eating, mindless snacking, unconscious eating. So we're not really tuned into our body, the hunger cues, the hunger fullness cues. We're more like, again, the visual might trigger the eating, or you're offered a snack. Someone offers you something, and you know, even though maybe you just ate lunch or you just had a meal, you eat it. Okay, so it's eating beyond hunger. It could be that there's distractions in place. Maybe you're watching TV and that triggers eating, or you're on the computer. So this is more like mindless eating, distracted eating. Like we said, we see food, or maybe you're preparing food. So there could be different reasons why we're doing this unconscious eating. You're in the car, you're on the go. We're not really tuned into our body, okay? You see someone else eating. So all these different um, reasons why you might eat beyond hunger. So again, when it comes to habit or mindless eating, you want to tune into it. And this might be, again, where you keep some sort of a journal, okay? And I always tell people, ask yourself before you grab that food, or before you go and take that food, ask yourself, am I hungry? Those three words, am I hungry? Is it true physical hunger, or is it something else? And we make a lot of food decisions every day. They say we make over 200 food decisions daily. So that's a lot of decisions to make, okay? And we're faced with food all day long. So staying tuned in and staying mindful will help you to determine if you're eating for hunger or beyond hunger, okay? So again, tune in for the unconscious eating. Do you see food and eat? Are you tuned in? Are you tuned into quantities or portions? Like, what's going on? So kind of staying mindful and tuning in is very important. And then what is a food craving? So this is might be another time that we might eat beyond hunger. Because a food craving doesn't always come with hunger. Okay, a food craving is actually an intense desire to consume a specific food. You have a specific food in mind, and it is different from normal hunger. So it's a very strong desire for a certain type of food. Okay, um, and you know, it could come at different times. You know, sometimes it might be if you haven't eaten in a long period of time, and it's your body's way of asking for fuel or asking for nutrients, it could come in the form of a craving. So there's different reasons why we have cravings. It's sort of our brain reminding us that we need a nutrient or fuel. It's also our brain an area of our brain that's responsible for pleasure and reward. So a lot of times, the cravings are coming from brain chemistry. Certain neurotransmitters are released with the cravings once we have the craving. So it can trigger this feeling of pleasure and reward. Sometimes stress can cause, because our stress hormones go up, so it can cause cravings if we're not getting enough sleep. We could have increased cravings, sometimes if there's hormonal imbalances. So there could be different reasons why we have these cravings, and they tend to be twice as common in women than men, the cravings. So it is a real thing, and just something, again, to tune into if you're having them. So again, it's associating a specific food or foods with reward, mood lifting, or a pleasurable feeling. So again, if we're not in a great mood or we're feeling emotional, a lot of times these cravings or foods could help sort of counter that. So just being aware of that too. And then also determine what kind of foods are you craving, okay? Typically, we're craving fats, sugars, and salty foods. Okay, these are the most common. Um, and especially carbohydrates. Carbohydrates boost levels of serotonin, that's a neurotransmitter, a brain chemical that actually helps us to feel calm. It has a calming effect. So like I said, it can counter stress or different emotions and that type of thing. And the combination of fat and sugar are also very common to be calming. And the most common cravings are chips, fries, and chocolate. Those from research, I read that those tend to be the most common cravings. But like I said, there's different reasons why people have cravings, but it tends to help with those neurotransmitters that keep us calm. And the theory is that our bodies were programmed to crave foods high in calories for survival, for early man. Okay, so in times of stress, cortisol levels, which are stress hormones, go up, increasing cravings, causing us to eat more and store calories for those stressful times, for times of survival, extra body fat for survival. So we're sort of programmed to have it. And like I said, stress is a big component, or maybe lack of sleep, or different imbalances and things like that. So how do we handle all of this? We sort of identified different reasons why we eat. There's there's emotional, there's obviously the physiological, the cravings, and of course, mindless eating or unconscious eating. So now that we know, now that we're aware, we've built some awareness in, now how do we handle it? What are some tips and strategies? Okay, so one of them is to not let yourself get too hungry. Like I said, if we wait too long, if we skip meals, our energies get low, then the hunger can kick in, and then we might have those cravings, or we might have, the emotions kicking in, or we might feel like the mindless eating. We see food and maybe then we start to overeat. So if you let yourself get too hungry, it can kick in those other examples of why we might be eating. So once we start to feel the physical hunger, like on the hunger scale, that's the time to eat. And like I said, every 3 to 4 hours, your body needs some fuel and nutrients. Okay. And like I said, ask yourself, am I hungry? Okay. Tune in to your hunger. And if it's not that you're physically hungry, try to delay the response and distract. I always say delay and distract. Sometimes our brain just needs a distraction. Okay. Instead of impulse eating, try to distract with something. And that could mean a non-food related activity that you enjoy, something that also gives you pleasure. So it will trigger that pleasure and reward response. But instead of food, It's a non-food related activity, something that you enjoy. It could be taking a walk outside in nature, getting some sun. It could be a hobby that you have, like gardening or doing a puzzle or reading, photography, knitting, music, reading. Come up with like a list of some distractions so that if it's not hunger, obviously if it's hunger you'll eat something, but if it's not in response to hunger, sometimes we need to delay and distract. So try to delay it and distract yourself with one of these ideas that I mentioned. And a lot of times once we distract ourselves, we move on. We mentally move on, okay? If you still feel some hunger after you've delayed for a while, then maybe it's time for some fuel. But at least you gave yourself a little bit of time to see if it goes away. Okay. You can, like I said, keep an emotion or cravings journal. So this way you stay tuned in, you stay mindful of when the emotions hit or the cravings hit and how you handle it or what you're craving, and you can keep track of it. Okay. This way it can help you to plan some strategies around it or to make some other you know, plans. So identify the emotions that are leading to eating, okay? And this way you can sort of work on that area of the emotions, okay? Maybe talking to someone, maybe, therapy or a friend or someone that you can talk it out with. If you're feeling stressed, maybe you need to communicate with someone. And just that release of communicating can sometimes help sort of balance back those emotions. So sometimes just identifying what's happening and if we need to talk to someone and get it out. Um, Exercise has been shown to reduce stress. So it releases endorphins when you take a walk outside, or if you do yoga or stretching, or whatever the exercise is that you enjoy, it actually counters those emotions. It can counter the stress. It can counter um, even the boredom or whatever that emotion is that you're feeling. Because, like I said, it increases hormones and brain chemicals that make you feel good, that make you feel calm. So even just starting, if you haven't been exercising, obviously talk to your doctor and make sure that you're able to do the exercise, but start gradually. But as you will find, you're going to feel better, and it will help to counter and can even curb your appetite when you are exercising. So that can be a really good strategy. Doesn't have to be lengthy exercise. You could start with 10 minutes and see how you feel. Even making sure you're hydrated enough and drinking enough water. Sometimes we feel like we're hungry, but our body really needs hydration. So maybe you want to start by drinking, enough water, making sure that you're well hydrated. Some other tips, we mentioned the not skipping meals, but also the distractions. So try and avoid eating with distractions. When we're eating in front of the TV, the computer, our phone, or in the car, we're driving, our brain is tuned into something else. Okay, it's either watching a show or watching the road because we're driving, we're on the computer. So we're not really tuned into those hunger fullness cues. We're not even really tuned into how food is tasting because our brain can only focus on one thing at a time. So when we eat with distractions, your body's not going to determine fullness. It's not going to determine satisfaction and savoring the food. So you're going to kind of miss all that. So we want to try to, if you can, try to eat without distractions. Just really tune in, enjoy the food, how it looks, how it smells, how it tastes. Really, interact with the food and your body will tell you it's getting full, and then you'll stop. So try to avoid eating with distractions, okay? The limiting the sweets and refined grains, that's just being careful with foods that, they may not fill you up. These are foods that we can easily overeat. You don't have to avoid them if you enjoy them. It's okay to have them, But if you find that you're overeating them, or the frequency is too much, or the quantities are too much, you might want to back off, okay? A lot of times with sugars and sweets, we keep those cravings going. Our brains remind us. So if you feel like you want to cut back, that can be good. Or maybe keep it out of the house and just have it when you go out. Don't keep it in the house. So just limiting, you don't have to avoid, but just limiting some of these foods that may not fill you up, and we tend to need more and more to fill us up, and we could be overdoing it. You want to choose more whole grains or foods that have more fiber. Fiber fills us up. It gets digested slower, so it keeps you fuller longer. So fiber and protein really fill you up, and they can help decrease your hunger hormones, especially protein. So when you're getting protein at every meal, even your snacks, you're going to feel nice and full. It's going to help with the cravings. It's going to help with the extra eating. So wherever you can, try to add in whole grains, try to add in fiber. Fiber comes from plant-based foods like vegetables, fruits, grains, beans, nuts, seeds, all have fiber and they keep you nice and full. So choose more often the fiber and the protein. Try to keep your stress levels down. Come up with ways to de-stress, whether it's deep breathing, meditating, imagery, prayer, whatever helps you de-stress, reading, music, gentle massage, a bath, a shower, getting out in nature. There's been research that says just being outside with nature and fresh air de-stresses, it lowers our cortisol levels. Yoga, anything that helps you de-stress is going to help keep the emotions in check, the cravings in check, and keep you more balanced. And like I said, try to come up with on your own and while you're journaling 5 non-food related activities you enjoy. And focus more on those when you're feeling emotional, when you're feeling stressed. Really try to, gravitate to those activities that you enjoy. All right. Maybe you have a specific playlist that you'll put on if you're feeling stressed and it helps you relax. I know a lot of people do have those coloring books and those help them relax. So you just have to come up with things that you like to do and just sort of start to distract the brain and implement some of these other strategies. And like I said, you could keep the trigger foods out of the house. Not that if there's certain foods that you're gravitating to, that you're over doing beyond hunger, you might want to take a break from them. Again, it's not that you're never going to have them, but it might, if you keep your home sort of your sanctuary, sort of the foods you want to eat more of, and keep the foods you want to have less of outside the house. Maybe you want to go out and get that ice cream, enjoy it, but then don't bring it in the house so it's tempting you and you're having issues with. So depending upon what it is, maybe you want to do a trial of keeping it out of the house and see if that helps. And again, preventing the mindless eating. Keep asking yourself, am I hungry? Is it true physical hunger? Does my body need fuel? Has it been X hours since my last, eating? If not, try to either avoid or just have a small quantity. If it's a craving and you're really not going away, it's okay to have, but maybe just watch the frequency, how often, and how much. Okay, maybe stick to one portion, eat it nice and slow, enjoy it, and then move on. Okay, try not to eat in front of, like I said, the distractions. Tune into your body. Remember the hunger scale. Tune into your body's hunger cues. Avoiding late night eating. Sometimes with that, what happens is it can cause the night eating, then you don't wake up hungry in the morning, so then we skip meals, and a lot of our calories are later in the day or the night, and it keeps this cycle going. So at night, unless you're truly hungry, try to have something maybe more relaxing at night, doing something that's soothing, relaxing, and this way you wake up in the morning, you're nice and hungry, you eat your breakfast, and you have your balanced meal. So maybe try to avoid the late night eating and do some stress relaxing, preparing for sleep and that type of thing. Getting enough sleep helps with those hunger hormones and lowers your stress hormones, lowers your cortisol levels. So that's been shown to help as well. So planning, a lot of this is just thinking it through, planning ahead, and eating without guilt. There should be no guilt involved. You shouldn't feel bad about anything. But you want to plan through it. If you're struggling with this, any of these types of challenges, having a plan and a strategy, some of these tips I mentioned is going to help. And it's a process. It takes time. It's not going to happen overnight, but the more that you keep being consistent with it or practicing it, keeping that journal, it's going to help you for the future. So, get back on track with a plan to handle the situation. It's okay if you're having challenges, just get back on track. Keeping the healthy foods, on hand, that's going to help you for success here. So keeping healthy snacks handy in case hunger or cravings do hit. So think nutrient-rich foods for an energy boost. And I'm going to show you a really great visual. This is a great visual that could be a snack or a mini meal. It's very balanced. It's going to help keep you nice and full and meet your nutrient needs. And it's going to help sort of curb the emotional eating, the cravings, because you're getting a balance of nutrients. You're getting protein, vegetables, fruit, maybe a little carbohydrate in there, healthy fats. So by getting a balance in nutrients, like here we have the cottage cheese, which is your protein. You have some cucumber, some berries, some almonds, which are a healthy fat, and then a little bit of egg for your protein. So it's a nice balanced snack. This is sort of what you want to do to mimic when if you're feeling hungry in between meals or a mini meal or on the go, you have something like this. So try to pair a fiber source, like I mentioned, with a protein, like maybe an apple with peanut butter, or vegetables with hummus, cheese and crackers, yogurt with fruit and nuts. Any combination of the fiber with the protein is going to keep your energy sustained, your hunger controlled, and your emotions level. Including the regular meals and snacks, like I said, every 3 to 4 hours to keep everything balanced. Having your breakfast, it kickstarts your day with energy. It helps your mental clarity. It helps with, feeling balanced and ready for the day and getting your nutrients in so that we don't feel snacky and hunger later on. So try to make it a protein-focused meal. Get your fiber in, like I mentioned. Same thing with other meals. Try to have a balance of nutrients to help control the hunger and the cravings. So this is another great visual of a balanced plate. This could be a plate at one of your meals, maybe your lunch or your dinner, or even a breakfast. It's a divided plate and it gives you a balance of nutrients. You're getting protein from either eggs or salmon or beans or yogurt. You're getting vegetables. 3/4 of your plate is the vegetables. So adding color to your plate with the fruits and the vegetables. A little bit of healthy fat helps to keep you nice and full. Okay, add some grains, which have fiber and keep you nice and full. It could be brown rice. It could be nuts or seeds. So it just depends on what you like. But eating in a balanced way is going to keep your fuel up, keep your energy up, keep you balanced, um, help you to feel energized, mental clarity. It's going to help you sleep better. It's just overall good to keep the stress hormones down. And of course, being active at the bottom of the page there, and then hydrating well with unsweetened beverages. Like I mentioned, the water or green or black tea have a lot of antioxidants, but try to keep your beverages unsweetened. It will help with obviously added sugars and of course cravings. Like we said, hydrate often. Um, Start your day with water end your day with water. Try to hydrate throughout the day. It helps your metabolism work better. It helps your brain function better. Water is important for all the organs of your body. It's just important overall. It can help curb your hunger. So definitely, sometimes we feel like we're hungry, but sometimes we just need some fluids or some water. And like I said, try to avoid eating with distractions. Check in with yourself. Am I feeling hungry, or is it something else? Do I just need to de-stress or relax? So in summary, we talked about a lot of things, different ways we eat, different types of hunger, emotional eating, unconscious eating, cravings, but it all comes down to tuning into the body and staying mindful. That's really what you want to focus on, is tuning into your body. What is your body telling you? Okay? Eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full, slow down, savor your eating, really have a good relationship with the food, enjoy the food, um, come up with that list, like I mentioned, the non-food activities to deal with your emotions, have those as a go-to list and start practicing it. Try to watch the distracted eating. Try to eat first, then watch TV. So try to make sure that we're avoiding that. And then, of course, keep the healthy foods in the house. You have some ideas now for meals and snacks, and that can help you keep on track with your nutrition, with your hunger, and decrease your cravings and the triggers for the emotional eating and, of course, the unconscious eating as well. Okay, any questions now? Thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed this session, this presentation.
Thank you, Janet. Please take the time to submit any questions. We are on a little bit of a delay, so we will hang tight while you guys submit any questions that you may have. While we're waiting, I wanted to just take the opportunity to let you guys know in the beginning, like I said, Janet is one of our outpatient dietitians, and Valley does offer nutrition counseling services, which is covered by most insurances. You can meet with a dietitian one-on-one. If this is something that you may be interested in learning more about adjusting your diet, or if you have some type of disease that you want to work with one of the dietitians to help out with your nutrition, you can either give us a call by calling 201-634-5371, and you can get some more details and make an appointment, or you can email me. My email address is jjulian@valleyhealth.com, and we'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you guys may have. So let's see. Okay, so we do have one question here, Janet. It says, what about organic honey in green tea? Worry about the sugar, yet want the benefits.
Okay, organic honey and green tea. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, a little bit of honey, it is considered an added sugar, and even though it's a natural source. So, a lot of it comes down to, how much are you having, how many cups of tea, and then how much honey's going in the tea. So, so I would just, try to watch the quantity, um, with the added sugars. American Heart recommends no more than 24 grams a day for women, and then no more than 36 grams a day added sugar for men. So a teaspoon of honey is about 4 grams of sugar, but obviously we can get sugar in other sources too. So obviously we don't want to overdo having the honey at at any one time. So, but minimal amounts you can definitely have. I usually tell people if you can stick to about a teaspoon in your beverage. Obviously, we mentioned unsweetened beverages would be ideal, but if you're looking just for a little bit of flavor, try to stick to no more than a teaspoon of the honey, and then just watch how many teaspoons you're having a day, depending on how much tea you're having. So, a little bit's okay, but we just have to watch the quantities.
Thank you, Janet. We have another question here. I've been hearing about intermittent fasting and recent scientific evidence of its benefits. What do you think, especially that would mean long periods of fasting?
Um, okay, but with intermittent fasting, I mean, there has been shown to be obviously benefits, but it's not for everybody. This is where the one-on-one sessions would help, because depending on someone's health condition. There's different things we had to consider. Obviously, I would suggest talking to your doctor about something like this, and obviously even the dietitian. But it's not for everybody. I always ask people, is something that's sustainable for you? Because obviously people do find weight loss. You have to do it the right way, the right timing, the right composition of your eating when you're eating. So there's a lot to consider when we're talking about intermittent fasting. So I feel like, yes, there can be some benefits. People do find weight loss, lowering blood sugars and blood pressure, but it's not for everyone, and it's more of an individual decision. And something that, it's a tool. It's more of a tool that can help you. But with any tool, is it something you're going to go on and off, or are you going to be consistent with it? How are you going to use it? So I would say, obviously talk to your doctor, you could talk to the dietitian, and it's a little bit more of an individualized, suggestion.
Thank you, Janet. Let's see. Do you recommend the app Recovery Record? I found it useful.
I have not heard of that app. I have to be honest. Not familiar with it. Yeah. Um, so I can't really answer on it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Next question. Thank you. It's a habit to eat while watching TV, a hard habit to break.
Yes, for sure it is. I know it's very hard, and like I said, it's a process, you know. But as much as you can, I would try to, you know, um, like I said, you could try one of the other non-food, ideas as a distraction. Maybe substitute one of those for the TV if you feel like the TV is a big trigger, you know? Or maybe you want to substitute, have like a little herbal tea at night instead of the eating, just like sipping on something soothing like tea you could try, or have your water um, in place of the eating. I've also suggested sometimes to people, before you sit down to TV, maybe go brush your teeth. It might deter you from eating if your teeth are nice and clean. So you kind of have to come up with some strategies that might work for you. And at the beginning, it might feel a little bit of strange, but after a while, you will still get used to maybe the new habit of not eating with TV, or when you go to the movie theater, people buy snacks and things like that. And again, we're mindlessly eating. So as much as you can try to separate the two, the TV with the eating, try to eat your food at the table, enjoy it, savor it. And then when you're doing your distraction, try not to have the food present. But it is gonna be a little bit of a process. But it's just something that you have to be consistent with and practice.
Thank you, Janet. Next question. Did you say to consume something nutritious every 3 to 4 hours during the day?
Well, typically that's when our hunger can kick in and our energy levels can dip. So, keeping that time frame in mind is good, because it will kind of help with maybe the cravings, or going too long without eating and then your energies dip, or then your hunger really kicks in and then we're overeating. So the 3 to 4 hours is just a good timing to sort of tune into your body, and usually our body needs fuel. So keep the balanced eating in mind and keep the timing in mind.
All right. Well, thank you, Janet. I don't see any more questions. So I would like to say thank you to Janet. Thank you to the attendees for joining us. If you have any additional questions for Janet, like I said, you can email us at jjulian@valleyhealth.com, or you can call us at 201-634-5371, and we'd be happy to get those emails over to Janet to answer additional questions. Other than that, again, I'd like to say thank you for joining us, and everyone have a wonderful evening. Thank you, and thank you, Janet, again.
Thank you.